I'm excited about this. I have the Kospet Optimus 2 full Android watch or smartwatch. You can actually use this as a standalone mobile phone. This has a slot on the side for a SIM card. It's absolutely huge, but it's absolutely amazing as well. Very cool, this. So, Kospet did kindly send this watch to me. It's not a sponsored video or a paid video, but they did send this to me so that I can show you guys in this video. This is a beast of a watch. The Optimus 2 is a big watch. A few simple specs then. It's using the MediaTek Helio P22 chip. It has a 4G or LTE SIM card slot on the side, so you can use this as a full Android smartphone on your wrist. You get a 13 megapixel camera, that's a Sony IMX214 sensor at the top. You can take photos and video with that while it's pointing forward, or you can swivel that camera up towards your face. It has 4 gig of RAM, 64 gig of storage, a 1.6 inch IPS display with a resolution of 400 by 400, a 1260 milliamp hour battery, a smart looking ceramic bezel, that does look quite good, and a very soft silicone type strap. It does have a mic and a speaker, and the mic and the speaker both work really well. The speaker could do with a bit more bass, it's a little bit tinny, but it's nice and loud. It's not bad for a watch. Honestly though, all of that tech, all of those specs, all in a watch on your wrist. So the normal price of this watch is about £180 or $250. However, at the time of filming this video, so right now, you can actually pick up this watch directly from Kospet for £130 or $180. There's a link in the description. So would I recommend that you go and buy this watch for that money? Well, the answer is maybe. There are some really awesome things about this watch, and there are a few things that I wish were different. That's not to say that the watch is bad, there are just a few things that I wish were slightly different, but that's the case with all tech. First of all though, let's start with what you get in the box. So once the lid is off, you are greeted with this huge watch face, and sitting just underneath the watch is a power bank or a kind of battery pack. So you can actually recharge the watch, perhaps when you're away from home, so that could come in handy. There's also a box of accessories which contains a screwdriver. I think that's for opening the SIM card tray on the side. I can't see any other use for that. You don't need to unscrew anything though, it just pops out. You also get the charging cable for the watch, the proprietary charging cable, and a micro USB cable for charging that cool little battery pack. There's a small user guide and also a letter from Martin, the founder of Kospet. So that's a nice touch. Thanks, Martin. There's a screen protector already fitted to the watch, but you do get a second one in the box, which is really good. I love it when you get things like that included in the box. You can use it straight away and you don't need to worry about scratching the display. That is very good, and I wish that all manufacturers did that, so that's a big thumbs up. I mentioned then that there are pros and cons, so let's talk about some of the stuff that I like and also some of the stuff that maybe I don't. So design. At the top of the watch is that 13 megapixel camera. You can use this to take photos and video, and you can also swivel the camera up to point it at your face. This is very cool, which means you can easily do things like video calls.
Okay, so in terms of mic quality, I can understand you fine, volume is fine, it's just there is no bass to it, there's nothing to it, it's very flat.
Now I've used it for WhatsApp video calls, and the truth is, it actually does work very well. Personally, I'm not going to be taking important photos and videos with this. You just can't do that in my opinion. It's handy though for taking a quick snap, but I think the main use for this camera will be for video calls on your wrist and maybe a quick photo or video here and there. Around the watch on the left you have the SIM card tray, and on the right just two huge chunky buttons which are pretty much the power button and a back button, and they match the Optimus design of the rest of the watch absolutely perfectly, I think. You also have the ceramic bezel on the front, which looks really nice and clean. On the back you can see the sensors, and this will monitor your heart rate and also your blood oxygen levels as well. And the 4 gold pins that you can see on the back there, that's where you connect the proprietary charging connector, and it's actually magnetic, so it's very easy to connect it but that's where it goes. So the design for me is a plus point. Yes, it's absolutely huge. It's the largest watch, 100%, it's the largest watch I've ever had on my wrist, but it doesn't feel as big as it looks. It's actually quite lightweight, it doesn't weigh that much, but you would expect a watch of this size to just feel huge on your arm, and it doesn't. It's running full Android, Android 10.7, and you have access to the Google Play Store, which is very cool. Most apps are there, you can download them the same as you would on a normal phone. Now, I've played games on this watch, and look, I'm gonna be honest, I can't see myself doing much of this on a watch because after a while, honestly, my wrist started to ache quite a lot. But how cool is it to have the ability to do stuff like this on your wrist? It's very cool. So lift to wake works. When you lift the watch up, the screen turns on. That does work absolutely fine, but it does seem to use up a little bit more of the battery. So I actually have that turned off, and when I want to see the display, I press a button on the side and the display comes on. But lift to wake is there, and yes, it does work. So with the Google Play Store, you can install apps, and one of those apps that's really important to me is YouTube. So that means you can watch YouTube videos on your wrist. This is the thing I'm having trouble getting my head around, but pretty much you just download an app from the App Store, same as you would on any other Android device, and away you go. So it's very cool. Now here's the thing though, all of this stuff is a little bit fiddly. And the reason for that mainly is because the display is round. Now sometimes buttons and things that you need to press in apps like YouTube, well, you can't see them, or maybe you can't get to them because of the shape of the display. However, if you press and hold the blue button at the top, a small menu is going to pop up. You can actually set the screen to square mode, and then you can see everything on the display. It does just mean that everything is now super tiny, especially text. So there is a plus point in there for having the ability to change the display to a square shape so you can actually get to some of the things that might not be perfectly visible because the display is round. Now when you're looking at the watch face, you can swipe to see your notifications, which I am going to come back to in a moment, but swiping the other way, you'll see all of the apps, including the ones that you install from the Google Play Store, and you can change the layout of the apps on this watch as well, which is cool. So there are a couple of different layouts that you can pick from. This is the one that I'm now using, but there's a few different ones, and that's pretty cool to have the option to do that. You swipe over though once more, and this is where you'll see all of the different fitness tracking modes. Now the truth is, I am definitely not the fittest person in the world. I don't get anywhere near the amount of exercise that I should. Walking, that's probably what I do the most. But as you can see from this list, it does actually support 31 different exercise and sport modes. So walking, running, cycling, all of that stuff is there. And for those people wondering, this watch does also have GPS. So that's cool. Now everything I've done in this video so far with the watch has been in full Android mode. But there is another special mode called light mode, that's to help you save battery, and it's really easy to switch to that as well. So to turn light mode on, you just go to that top menu, you can see it there, you just tap on there and that sets it to light mode, and that just disables some stuff like Google Play Store, a few extra features and apps, but all of the main functionality of the watch and the main apps are still there and still work, and everything works absolutely fine. It just disables a few things, and that means though that you can now save on the battery life. So instead of 1 day of battery life when it's in full Android mode, you might actually be able to get a couple of days out of this on just one charge. So most of the time I've actually been using this watch in light mode because to me that extra battery life is very much welcomed. So light mode it is. You can see your health stats using an app called GeoFit or GeoFit something. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. But this is the app that Kospet suggests that you should use with the Optimus 2. Now, while the app seems to work reasonably well, for me, this is one of the things that really could do with some improvement. The app does update with your health data from the watch, such as your heart rate, blood oxygen levels, sleep data, exercise data. All of that stuff gets updated. You can also change and download new watch faces on the app. You don't have to use the app, you can do that directly on the watch, but while you're there, while you're using the app, you have got the ability to change the watch faces as well. But the app has caused me a little bit of frustration, and most of that revolves around notifications. You see, as far as I can tell, the JOFit or GeoFit app is not made by Kospet. Instead, it's a universal app that's designed to work with a whole range of Android watches, including the Optimus 2. So ideally, I want notifications on the watch, and I need that from WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Telegram, and so on. And sadly, as you can see in the app here, that just is not possible. This is a limitation of the app that we're using here though, so it's important to remember that this is a limitation of the app and not the watch. If you're using a SIM card in the watch though, and you're using the watch as a phone, then you don't need the app. So of course you'll get your normal notifications sent directly to the watch. So using this outside in sunlight, it's okay. It's a little bit harder to see the display outside, but you can still see it. It's definitely easier to see it indoors though. And also, I can't find at the moment much information about any kind of IP rating for this watch, but from what I can tell, it's not waterproof. That's from what I've read. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. I definitely wouldn't be jumping in the bath or going swimming with this watch. So this is a really cool watch. I absolutely love this. You've got the ability to download and install apps. You can just do pretty much what you would need to do with an Android handset, and you're just doing it all on your wrist. It's absolutely fantastic. I really do like it. And yeah, sure, the camera could be better, the display could be better, but as it is, I think it's really cool. I really do hope that the app gets updated in the future though, with maybe a few big updates and more notifications become available so your phone can send those notifications over to the watch. If you want to know more about the watch, or maybe you want to buy one, there's a link in the description below. I've actually had a lot of fun video calling other YouTube creators with this watch on WhatsApp. It's actually been good fun. Also, a big thanks to you guys for being here. I really do appreciate you watching. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please do consider subscribing so that you don't miss my future videos on awesome tech just like this. I'm Roger with Life of Tech. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.